Hi guys, it's Michelle and today's video is going to be an Unsolved Mysteries video. Sorry that I sound like this. This video was actually supposed to go up on Friday, but I got laryngitis, which is always really fun, and I still sound like a fucking weirdo. But this video is super interesting. There are so many unsolved mysteries, it's literally insane. And a couple of them are like pretty recent, and I was hoping like with talking about them it'll be able to like bring more light to the situation, hopefully get it solved. So really quick, this video is kindly sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with more than 25,000 different classes that you can take in design, business. You can take things about photo editing, video editing, and a lot of you guys always ask me like tips on becoming a YouTuber, and definitely like learning how to edit is a huge portion of it. And I think the classes on Skillshare are super interesting with learning how to edit videos and also pictures, like Instagram pictures. Everyone wants like their Instagram game to be poppin', so you can learn how to edit pictures on there, as well as many other classes in a bunch of different categories. Just two of the like classes that interest me that I'm going to personally be looking into is the video editing with Adobe Premiere. Also, I really want to learn how to use Adobe Camera Raw, and they have a class on that for photo editing, and I think that's so cool. And yeah, so they have 25,000 classes. I'm sure you'll be able to find a class that you like and want to learn about. And it's great because if you're a premium member, you get to have unlimited access to the website, so you can just take any of the classes that you want. I think it's a super cool website because not only do you get to like see the classes and like learn the things directly from whoever is teaching it, but you also get to talk to the people who are also looking into this class and are interested in the same things that you're interested in. If you want to check it out, Skillshare is giving away a free 2-month unlimited access trial to the first 500 subscribers that click the link in the description box below. After that, it is only $10 a month to continue your subscription. I think it's super dope website because you get to learn, you get to talk to people who also want to learn, and it's really fun overall. But yeah, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and like I said, click the link below if you want to get that free trial. Anyways, let's get into the unsolved mysteries. The first unsolved mystery we're going to be talking about is the disappearance of Susan Powell. This is such a sad story, and it's, I don't know, like it's just, I can't see a good outcome of it. Maybe there is, I don't know. Susan Powell was born Susan Cox on October 16th of 1981. Susan Cox married a man named Josh Powell. Josh was a really creepy dude. As a child, he like killed gerbils, and he actually threatened his mother with a butcher knife because she told him to do the dishes. So he allegedly had a really abusive father, and his father's name was Stephen Powell, who will come in later in the story. Regardless of the situation, Susan and Josh Powell did get married, and then they moved to Utah and had 2 children, Charlie and Braden. Susan started to tell her close friend that she like felt really unsafe around Josh and that he was super abusive, and she was clearly afraid for her life. On the morning of December 7, 2009, Susan was meant to drop off her kids at daycare, but she never showed up. The daycare center called the extended family, and the family ended up calling the police because they were worried about Susan's whereabouts. The police broke into the Powell house, and Susan, Josh, and the children were nowhere to be found. It was super odd because Susan's purse and her phone were at the house, and as well as there was 2 like big like fans that were pointed towards the carpet. It looked like somebody had cleaned the carpet and then was trying to dry it, which is obviously like really suspicious. Finally, Josh and the children actually returned home. Josh claimed that he took the children on a camping trip. Meanwhile, it was December in Utah, which is obviously super suspicious. His story just didn't fucking add up at all. He had left at midnight with like 2 little kids. He was camping in the freezing cold, and not only that, but the campsite that he described to the police could find no evidence of. So a lot of people thought he was lying. Now, this was in December of 2009. In the summer of 2010, the boys were at summer camp, and Braden drew a picture of his family like in a car, and it was his dad and him and his brother. And the camp counselor asked like, "Where's your mom?" And he said, "In the trunk." And that is just really suspicious and scary, and I hate that. So the children started to become a problem because they began to talk, and both children claimed that they remember last time that they saw their mother was that they remember being in the car with their mom and their dad, and they remember their mom and their dad both exiting their car, and then they only remember the dad coming back. So of course a lot of people do think that Josh murdered Susan. This is definitely like the most popular theory, but we'll continue the story. Once the stuff about the children started coming out, Josh's family started getting kind of defensive, specifically Josh's dad actually. His siblings actually kind of helped with the investigation, but his dad claimed that Susan was sexual towards him, which is most likely just absolutely not true at all, because Susan's family members actually claimed that Susan was really uncomfortable around Josh's dad, Steven, and that he would like stick his hand up her shirt and like really sketchy things with her. Once the police heard this, the police decided to investigate Steven's house, and they found pictures of Susan sleeping and like just pictures of her like obviously not knowing that her picture was being taken, and just stuff that was really illegal and really bad. He ended up going to jail. When Josh's dad, Steven, was arrested, the custody of the two children were taken away from Josh. They were put into foster care, but of course Susan's parents, so their grandparents, wanted custody of the children. September 2011, Susan's parents were granted custody of their grandchildren, and Josh was of course really upset about this, but he was allowed to have supervised visitations, which at first was at a facility, but later detrimentally it was able to happen at his house, which of course ended up being a fatal mistake. Josh's request in 2012 to regain custody of his children was denied, so on February 5th of 2012, Josh started leaving really creepy and cryptic voicemails and emails to his family members being like, sorry, I can't do this anymore, I can't live without my children. Goodbye, like I just can't do it anymore, basically. Josh's sister got really worried and called the police. Sadly, the children were already on their way to see Josh at a visitation at his home. So basically what would happen is there would be a social worker that was there, and the social worker would go in with the children to supervise the visit that they had with their dad. The supervisor claimed that the children really did like their dad and they were always really excited to see him. However, on this day particularly, they didn't really want to go see him. Once they got there, they ran out of the car really quickly to the house, and the social worker didn't really think anything of it because she had seen them get excited about seeing their dad previously. But sadly, when they ran up to the door, Josh Powell let his children in and slammed the door before the social worker could get in. She was just like a step behind them. Things get really bad from here, but a social worker obviously called 911 and was just like freaking out, saying that she's worried for the children's lives. Before the police could get there, and after the social worker hung up her phone, she turned around and the house was in flames. He attacked his children with a hatchet and then set the house on fire, killing him and his children, which is just so fucking sad and so awful. And it's one of those situations where it's stressful because it's like, oh, like it could have been avoided, but like it just wasn't. In 2017, Josh Powell's dad, Steven, was released from prison, but he died in 2018. In 2012, more things were released about Josh that was super suspicious. Like prior to Susan's disappearance, he withdrew his children from daycare, he canceled his wife's chiropractor appointments, and also he asked a coworker where he would hide a body. And that's really suspicious. And then he specifically talked about how he personally would hide a body in an abandoned mine shaft in Utah. So even though it's unsolved, it's kind of clear as to what happened. It's definitely heavily speculated that Josh sadly killed Susan and that her body has just not been found yet. Obviously, we would all love to think that maybe she just ran away, but surely if she heard that he died, and I don't think she would leave her children in danger, she would come back, but who really knows? Like I said, it's unsolved. Her whole family is trying to get her to be pronounced as dead. They believe fully that Josh killed her. Josh's family as well believes this. And it's just super sad situation overall. I can't even imagine. It's heartbreaking for any people involved. I hope that one day the family can get peace and find out exactly what happened to Susan, because it's just such a horrible situation. The next unsolved mystery we're going to be talking about is the mysterious death of Cathy Hobbs. This one is freaking insane and it really freaks me out. Cathy Hobbs had a rough childhood. Her parents got divorced when she was 8. This was really hard for her because she was super close to her father but ended up living with her mom. Specifically, what's so weird about this case is basically in middle school, one of her friends died from a heart condition that was just like out of the blue kind of. And Cathy Hobbs was convinced that she was going to die before she turned 16. She was like, I'm not going to live till I'm 16. Like, there's just no way, like, I won't live till I'm 16 is what she said. She always was speaking about these premonitions that she would be having about dying at a young age. She always talked about it to her friends, her family, and people were trying to calm her down and be like, you're fine, like everything's fine, like nothing's gonna happen. She really felt this, like she really felt like that something was gonna happen to her. So she even became like sort of like reclusive, where she would just stay inside and stay in her room because she had such a fear of dying. The morning of her 16th birthday, she was surprised to see that she had lived, because she really did think that she was going to die before she even got the chance to turn 16. When she figured that she lived till she's 16, she figured that the curse or the thoughts that she had must have been broken, or something must have went wrong, and that she was going to be fine and live a long life. But sadly, this just wasn't the case. So for just about 2 months of being 16, she lived a normal teenage life again. She was excited about the future. She talked about opening a hair company. She like wanted to do so many things with her life. But sadly, on July 23rd of 1987, she was reading a book in her room at night, and at around 11 p.m. she told her mom, Vivian, that she was just going to take a quick trip to the nearby supermarket to purchase a new book. Vivian said yes, because she actually thought that Cathy was going with her friends. They lived in an apartment complex, so she thought that they were like, because I guess she normally went to the supermarket with these friends. Supermarket was just a couple blocks away, but sadly no one was around that night, so Cathy ended up going alone. This part is so creepy as well, but around 3 a.m. Cathy's mom, Vivian, woke up from a sound sleep. All she felt was being like hit on the back of her head. After she felt like the initial hit, she felt like a peaceful feeling, like it was all over and everything was okay. At the time, she didn't understand the meaning of the experience, and once you hear it, you're gonna fucking get chills. It's so creepy. But Vivian woke up the next morning and discovered that her daughter Cathy had never come home. The police were contacted, and pictures of Cathy were distributed all over the place, and the supermarket worker actually said that he did sell Cathy a book at 11:17 p.m. on the night of her disappearance. 9 days later, Cathy's body was sadly found in a field. There were 2 rocks nearby that had blood stains on them, and the blood did match Cathy's blood. And the creepiest thing of all is that the coroner determined that she had died from repeated blows to the head, which is just so creepy, because her mom that night woke up at 3 a.m. with the feeling of something hitting her head. That's terrifying. Everyone always says that mother intuition is like a real thing. A mother knows when something is wrong with her child, and that is just so terrifying. It is so terrifying and so sad that she believed that she was going to die before she was 16, and then she made it to 16, and then just 2 months later. I don't know, it's awful. And on October 24th, just 3 months after Cathy vanished, an answering machine at the Las Vegas Police Department actually recorded a call from an anonymous caller. He claimed to witness her abduction, and he gave the correct location of where Cathy was last seen, along with an accurate description of what she was wearing that night. And he claimed that he did not contact police sooner because he was out of town for several months, which is obviously just really sketchy. The story is super heartbreaking, and I just think it's so creepy and like cryptic that someone could be so like sure of something, and then just the feeling that her mom had, like all of it just really scares me. But of course it still remains completely unsolved. Of course the anonymous caller is really suspicious if people think that the anonymous caller is actually the person who killed her. Other than that, we don't really know anything about it. I hope for the family and her friends, and justice for her as well, that this is completely solved. It's just so heartbreaking and so scary. So the last unsolved mystery that we're gonna be talking about is something that is so terrifying, and I can't believe that I haven't heard about this story because it's pretty recent, and also I feel like this one, I don't know, I just kind of have a gut feeling this one's gonna be solved, and I'm hoping by talking about it like and getting the suspect's picture out there that more people can view it and hopefully get it solved. And also I'll leave any links to all of these different like hotlines and stuff that you can call to like leave tips and stuff. But on Valentine's Day of 2017 in Delphi, Indiana, 2 teenage girls named Liberty German and Abigail Williams were found under Monon High Bridge, which is this train bridge. It's a really creepy, eerie bridge. I would be terrified to go on it. It looks like there's like panels missing, and it has no railings, and it's really scary. They were just 13 and 14 years old. Apparently Delphi, Indiana is like a really small town. There was like 3,000 people in it. After 2 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, the girls were posting pictures on Snapchat of them on this bridge just hanging out, like, you know, whatever like normal teenage kids do. In the distance, if you look closely, you can see there's this man in the background on this empty bridge, and it's just so fucking eerie. This was all posted on Snapchat. It was just you know, normal teenage things happening. Sadly, the girls didn't end up coming home. The police were called and they were found. The investigators, of course, searched their phones to see if there was any evidence of what could have happened or any other information. And the police actually discovered an audio clip from Abby's phone of a man with a deep voice saying "down the hill," and that's like the only part of the audio that they released. No one knows if like there's more audio. The police have actually been super like secretive about this case. Like no one actually knows how they died or like what happened, because in this case specifically, they think that if they publicize what happened, that they won't be able to correctly find out who was responsible, because there, I guess, were specific details and only the person who did it would know the details. So that is why we don't really actually know what happened to them. Obviously, Abby was recording this man and taking pictures of this man because she maybe felt threatened or scared, which is so terrifying and so sad, because I can just like imagine like that obviously they probably tried to like get away. Their families are like really active about this and they talk about this. They really want to get their story out because this is a crime that it can be solved. Like, this is a small town. There's a pretty accurate sketch drawing of the possible suspect. It's just so scary. I can't even imagine being like on an abandoned bridge and like feeling so creeped out by someone like lurking behind you. It's just, it literally gives me chills. The parents even talk about how the girls stuck together because they said that there for sure would have been a time where one of them could have gotten away, because it's believed that this person in the background of this video was the killer and he was the sole person doing so. So people believe that like one of them was being attacked while the other one was trying to help, and then of course it ended up in both of them passing away. It's so heartbreaking, but I'm hoping by like spreading the message and spreading this story that it can be solved, because the family just deserves justice for that, and they have been so proactive in their daughter's cases. I feel so bad for them. I just think it's so sad. Like I said, the police haven't released any autopsy or much details about the case, but the suspect picture is pretty distinct, I think, and it looks like a pretty distinctive person. They've had a couple different suspects, but none of them checked out, so this is an ongoing investigation. If you have any information, check out the links that I posted in the description box below. I don't know, it's just heartbreaking, and I really, really hope this one gets solved. I really feel it like this one will for some reason, and it's just, I don't know, it's so sad because it's so like not close to home in the sense of like Indiana, like, but close to home in the sense of it's like two teenage kids like just hanging out on Snapchat. Like, that's stuff that I would do in middle school, and like, you know, like going to bridges or doing fun things with your friends. Like, I don't know, it's just so sad. If you have any information, click the link in the description box below and help solve this case. This family and these two girls deserve justice. So that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments any other unsolved mysteries that you want me to talk about. I'm actually thinking of doing like an extra video a week where I talk about a different true crime video. I'm really interested in true crime, and also I think it's really good to spread the word, and especially for unsolved cases, to like get justice and help it become solved. So if you guys would be interested in that, let me know. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram, because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every week, and I will see you guys later. Bye!